The anime opens with H4ND4 KUN, a second-year high school student. H4ND4 is very popular among the students but keeps things to himself. H4ND4 has it all: good skills, good looks, and a good personality. A series of misunderstandings led H4ND4 to believe the actions of his fans as bullying. One day, as H4ND4 arrives at school, he receives a letter in his shoe locker. Once bullied, H4ND4 overthinks the situation and ends up throwing the letter. He thought it was a threat letter addressed towards him. However, it turns out the letter was a confession from his classmate, Maiko. Her friend, Juri, scolds H4ND4 for throwing the letter. H4ND4 apologizes and asks Maiko to tell him the letter's content face to face. Maiko musters up the courage and asks H4ND4 to meet behind the school gym after school. H4ND4 was once again speculating about bullying possibilities. He looks up and notices Yuri's sharp gaze on him. H4ND4 then gets an idea to write a letter to the girl, but because H4ND4 doesn't know her name, he gives the letter to Juri. Juri misunderstands this gesture as H4ND4 likes her, so she thinks of confessing her feelings to him. Suddenly, the atmosphere around the two friends Maiko and Juri turned into that of enemies. After school, H4ND4 doesn't get any response from Maiko, so he decides to go to the location Maiko asked him to go and clear up any misunderstandings. At the back of the school gym, H4ND4 sees other students who were curious about what would happen. H4ND4 immediately felt nervous, imagining the worst case before Maiko handed him a pink envelope. Juri tries to stop Maiko from expressing her feelings, and the two girls start to fighting over H4ND's love. H4ND4 tells them not to fight over trivial matters, but when Maiko still insists on handing over her letter, H4ND4 remarks that her writing is awful. As H4ND4 and others leave, the girls make up and decide to take calligraphy class, so Maiko can write a beautiful love letter to H4ND4. Next day, it's the class president vote time, and Aizawa Junichi, who has often been the class president, is running for the position once again. H4ND4 has no idea why he was chosen as a candidate even though he did not run. The results end up being tied between Aizawa and H4ND4, which shocks them. Teacher tells them to play rock, paper, scissors to determine the final winner. H4ND4 intends to give up, however. He ends up winning the game. This shocks H4ND4 to his core, and he decides to resign. Aizawa doesn't comply with the resignation, and it's more embarrassing for him if he takes H4ND's rejected position. Thus, H4ND4 becomes the new class president and Aizawa, the vice president. Nikaido Ryo is a new student and part-time model. Since he started this school, his popularity is always second to H4ND4, which pisses him off. One day, Nikaido decides to follow H4ND4 secretly to discover the secrets of H4ND's popularity, but he loses track of H4ND4. Nikaido searches around for H4ND4 and finds him entering an area with many talent agents from entertainment companies. He doesn't want H4ND4 to be recruited by the agency that he works for and tries to stop them from seeing H4ND4. However, the talent agents had already seen H4ND4 and they asked him to wear his chosen outfit. H4ND4 politely refuses while covering Nikaido with the outfit. Nikaido finally realizes that H4ND4 is very kind, which is the biggest secret to his popularity. Nikaido is fired from his agency, but he has decided to embrace himself and not chase popularity anymore. A few days pass by, and H4ND4 needs to give a lesson summary to Tsutsui Akane, a classmate of his who often skips school. H4ND4 feels lazy, but still goes to Tsutsui's house. When he rings the bell, no one answers, so he decides to leave the papers in the mail. A tough-looking boy approaches H4ND4 claiming to be Tsutsui, which surprises H4ND4 as he has Tsutsui's photo, and the boy looks nothing like this big boy. Turns out, Tsutsui was very small in appearance and was always bullied, so he decided not to go to school anymore and locked himself at home until one day since we saw an advertisement to make his body strong and muscular. Following intense training, he managed to have a strong and athletic body, and instead of returning to school, he became a troublemaker. Tsutsui misunderstands the situation and tries to hit H4ND4, which H4ND4 who manages to dodge. Before their fight goes any further, a group of delinquents assault Tsutsui and H4ND4 manages to scare them with just a look in his eyes. Tsutsui is inspired by H4ND's personality along with the letter in the file and decides to return to school. The classmates are surprised to see the new Tsutsui. On the other side, Tsutsu promises to guard H4ND4 from now on and be by his side. Next day, in a cooking class, Kondo Yukio, an unpopular kid, is teamed up with H4ND4, Nikaido, Tsutsui, and Aizawa. Despite H4ND's popularity, Kondo treats him fairly. When the boys fight over what dish to cook, H4ND4 plans to make a pudding. Handa isn't very good at cooking, and he started to make a pudding with soy sauce and salt. Soon, an incident in the kitchen disrupts the cooking. Kondo, who watched Handa's recipe, tries to warn others from trying Handa's pudding. However, the others still appreciate the dish because Handa made it for them, so Kondo had no choice but to join and taste the horrible pudding. In class, Handa drops an eraser from Miyoko, a girl sitting next to him. He gives his eraser so that the matter doesn't go any further. Handa has a good friend, Kawafuji Takao, who is also good at writing calligraphy. Handa thinks everyone hates him and he doesn't want Fuji to be affected, so Handa always meets Kawafuji secretly. He even hides if their schoolmates are nearby because he doesn't want people to bully Kawafuji for being friends with him. During junior high school, Handa first met Kawafuji and became friends. Kawafuji liked a girl who unexpectedly liked Handa and wanted to confess to him. She gave a letter expressing her feelings, but Kawafuji said to Handa that someone had sent him a threat letter. Handa, still innocent back then, believed Kawafuji, so since then he has always had a bad feeling if someone sent him a letter. Handa also always thinks everyone hates him when their eyes are on him. Kawafuji tries to tell Handa what really happened, but he missed the right time to share the truth. On the other hand, Aizawa and others were surprised by the rumor that Handa sells poetry in the park. Realizing that Handa wouldn't do such a thing, the others rushed to the park to find a boy named Hanada Ki impersonating Handa. They confront Hanada by slapping him after being threatened. He finally admits that he is a big fan of Handa. The others demand he apologize to the real Handa for all the misunderstandings. However, they did not find Handa anywhere. Instead, Hanada finds his writings corrected by Handa, which breaks his perception of being a Handa duplicate. One day, two girls from school were surprised to see Handa with a beautiful woman. They take a picture and share it on social media, which immediately goes viral. Miyoko, who has fallen in love with Handa since the eraser incident, intends to jump from the top of the building. She feels frustrated when she learns about Handa's close relationship with a beautiful woman. Handa, unaware of what's going on, replaces his table, which Miyoko takes as a sign for his love. She gives up and cries her heart out. She meets the beautiful woman from the picture with Handa, and turns out it's his mother. Handa's teacher has shared concerns about Handa's social skills, and his mother is worried about him. Handa tries to become more social and tries to talk to his friends. He talks with Kondo, who replies to Handa casually. This makes Handa think that now he had improved and could socialize. Sawako is the student council president and is also very popular at school because she looks cool and charismatic in uniform. Sawako is a huge feminist and attaches great importance to the status of women. She doesn't like Handa and tries to humiliate him. She tried to force him to wear a girl's uniform, but Handa escaped. Sawako and the student council members chase after Handa and corner him, but an unexpected incident occurs when Handa and Sawako accidentally fall down the stairs. Sawako lands on top of Handa's body, implying that he protected her. This moves Sawako's heart, and she starts to feel bad for hating Handa, who turned out to respect women. As someone who hated men because they often underestimated her, she became respectful to Handa because the young man saved her. Soon, Handa wakes up and turns out he suffered a mild concussion that caused him to lose his memory. The next day, students were preparing for the exam when Handa greeted his friends in a friendly manner. Doctor said that he will regain his memory in a few days, but the changed Handa somehow disgusts his friends as it's the opposite of his original self. His friends couldn't just watch, so to heal Handa, they planned to hit Handa's head to cure his amnesia. When Handa was on the stairs, he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his head and his memories returned. His friends accidentally pushed Handa down the stairs. Handa has returned to being himself, who always thinks everyone hates him. Kawafuji invites Handa to hang out after school and he disguises himself as a girl. Kawafuji also invites his friend Hasegawa, and they go bowling. Handa is not good at bowling, but is quite agile when throwing darts. When Kawafuji goes to get some drinks, Hasegawa seniors try to bully him. Handa reveals his disguise and helps Hasegawa from the bullies. The next day, Handa accidentally drops his papers when Hasegawa comes to help Handa. Hasegawa immediately remembered Handa's request to pretend not to know him when they met at school, so he quickly leaves. Higashino is another student from Handa's school who has his own fear of Handa. Once, he raced against Handa and lost. One day, Higashino finds Handa running very fast, and he takes it as a challenge. He runs after Handa and manages to match him. However, Handa suddenly jumped to the right side of the road, making Higashino realize Handa was being chased by a dog. Handa meets Kawafuji and tells him that he was being chased by a dog, but a young man was running with him. A few days later, Handa saw his zodiac predictions and felt eerie. He asked his classmate, Suguni, to read his palm for predictions. Suguni nervously begins to read Handa's line as she corrects and says what has been weighing on his mind. Suguni is determined to train her skills and more accurately predict the future. It's time for the test results, and Handa, along with Nikaido and Satsui, is worried about their scores. They need to take a retest to improve their test scores, and finally decided to study together under the tutorship of Aizawa, who ranked first. On the retest day, Nikaido, Satsui, Hanada, and Higashino are all fighting to sit on Handa's seat when he shows up. Handa is an intelligent student, but he forgot to write his name on the answer sheet, so he has to retake the test. When the test results are shown, others have improved their score, but Handa once again forgot to write his name. In the school, Kasumi is a female librarian who is shy. She also has a crush on Handa, and when Handa comes to library to borrow books is the only time she can see him. As an amateur novelist, Kasumi puts a romantic novel on a calligraphy, but Handa overthinks and rushes away. Satsui and others come to the library and realize Kasumi has a crush on Handa. They decide to make the library full of students, and this makes Kasumi very busy. Now, Handa rarely goes to the library to borrow books, and Kasumi feels very sad because she rarely sees him. One afternoon, Handa came to the library when it was quiet and returned the book he had borrowed. He praised Kasumi's novel and told her to focus on her work to help many people. Kasumi also asked Handa not to come to the library so that she can focus on her job, but this leads to Handa thinking she dislikes him now and forbade him to go to the library. Handa and his friends are on the way to a study tour. They board the same train as Tsukasa and Ichimiya, students from another school. Handa accidentally throws a candy at Tsukasa's friend Jaimoto, which breaks a huge misunderstanding when Ichimiya intervenes and settles the situation. In Kyoto, Kanda and his classmates go to a temple to pick the divination paper. The group only picked bad predictions, whereas Ichimiya got the best predictions. Handa doesn't care about it and chooses to pray. Ichimiya approaches him and asks why he didn't stop his friends from fighting. Handa says he had nothing to do with the situation. Back in the hotel, Aizawa asks Handa to take shower in his single bathroom and not join him at the public bath. This makes Handa feel bad, but the others did it to protect him. The girls were eyeing out Handa, and the other school kids were also not trustworthy. The boys go to bed early that night, but a doll is thrown from upstairs to scare Handa. The next day, Satsui and his friends again have a conflict with the other schoolboys. Handa and Ichimiya are enjoying their activities, unaware of the conflict. Many incidents lead to a complete war between Handa and Ichimiya's groups. Ichimiya is annoyed as the girls are not sure who is more powerful, Handa or himself. He is also enraged that Handa stays so oblivious, but he is still so popular. The next day, Handa is separated from his friends and accidentally meets Ichimiya. He asks Handa if he felt his popularity is a burden, to which Handa honestly answers no. This upsets Ichimiya. Meanwhile, Handa's friends are looking for him when they encounter Nagamasa, a friend of Ichimiya who is also searching for Ichimiya. They find the two boys on the bridge where Handa apparently refused to be friends with Ichimiya. Handa says that Ichimiya already has great friends around him, so he is not needed anyways. Tsubasa doesn't want Ichimiya to lose something he wants, so he tries to attack Handa. However, his friends are like a shield and stop Tsubasa from harming Handa. Soon, the two groups reconcile while forgetting that they accidentally pushed Handa off the bridge. Back in the school, Okayama-sensei is arguing with the headmaster about the inhuman frog surgeries. The headmaster and parents are against animal dissection, while Okayama-sensei thinks it's a vital part of education. The school decides to do a vote, and Handa ends up choosing the frog surgery as he doesn't want to look weak. When biology class finally started the next day, Handa lay flat on the floor as he couldn't dissect the frog. Okayama-sensei finally realized his mistake, and the hearts of his students ordered his students to release the frogs and do flower arrangement activities instead of animal dissection. One day, Handa surprised to see Aizawa near his house. However, Aizawa thought Handa was being followed by a stalker. This leads to a huge misunderstanding when Aizawa and his friends devise a plan to protect him from the stalker. They start to follow Handa while Ryoko, the girl who fell in love with Handa, still helps, and from behind the scenes, by keeping the girls in check. As Honda is trying to go to the cafe to meet Kawafuji, he notices he is being followed. He rushes away, and Aizawa and others track him with GPS and follow him, thinking he is running away from stalkers. Nikaido and Satsui find a suspicious figure, and when they follow it, they are trapped with an angry dog. Handa finally climbs a wall to escape the others, but finds them on the other side of the wall. This annoys Handa, and he yells at them and asks them to leave him alone. Kondo feels guilty of taking things this far. In fact, Kondo is a very ordinary kid who tries to be ordinary with everyone. One day, he finds a pink envelope on his desk. Kondo thought everyone hated him because he was ordinary, but hung out with Handa and his famous group. When he met the girl who wrote him the letter, his thoughts were confirmed, and the girls told him to stay away from the boys. Unknown to Kondo, Aizawa and others were listening to the conversation, which they expected to be a confession. They disclose how much Kondo meant to them and how he is one of their best friends. In the school, the Bishujo Comic Club is at the verge of being disbanded as none of their comics are sold. Aizawa suggests that they make a comic Handa because he is the most popular student in school. The 3 students from the comics club don't know Handa well, so they try to know his personality through several incidences. They realize Handa is very kind and caring even with an action figure, so they decide to make a comic that tells the character Handa as a sweet girl who is kind and liked by many people. One day, Handa is given the task of throwing the recyclables into the garbage truck, and he accidentally throws Handa comic papers. Meanwhile, the 3 students who find out their comic copies have been dumped in a garbage truck immediately rushed after the garbage truck. Handa realizes the situation and rushes to help them stop the garbage truck. Handa immediately became irritated when he found out that the comics the group made drew him as a cute girl. It's time for the cultural festival, and Aizawa explains their class will do Romeo and Juliet. On his way home, he witnesses some bullies assaulting a boy, but instead of helping, he hides. Satsui asks why he isn't helping the boy and thinks to himself, maybe Handa is not feeling well. So Satsui takes action and helps the boy from the bullies. The school is busy preparing for the festival, and Handa's classmates are excited for the musical. Handa was told to just sit and watch, which made him fall asleep in boredom. When he wakes up, he realizes it's nighttime and everyone else left for home. Unknown to Handa, the rebellious kids from the other day were following him. Satsui and others were also there, and they helped Handa as the bullies were about to attack. Next day, everyone had their roles fixed, and even though it was absurd, they soon tried to make it work. The cultural festival day is here, and many people have joined. The booths are selling Handa-related things, and the comics club is also seeing success with the Handa comics. Kawafuji and his friend Hasegawa head towards Handa's class to watch his acting in the play. They are greeted by students in maid's dress and are offered refreshments with unique names. They are shocked to see Romeo to be Nikaido and Juliet to be Satsui. Hanada shows up with the queen's dreams with a wig. Handa is embarrassed to see Kawafuji and wants to escape the play. Meanwhile, the bullies arrive at Handa's school and are searching for him. They find the Handa-chan comics and find the story really adorable. As they head towards Handa's class, they find many other students in the appearance of Handa. The bullies find Hanada and ask him about the real Handa. Hanada rushes to Aizawa and warns them about the bullies. On the other hand, Chimbiya and his friends also show up, looking at the comic and finding their way towards Handa's class. They are here to watch the play. However, the bullies and Ichinoya's group end up starting a fight. Ichimiya is there to be friends with Handa, and the bullies also agree that they are there to not harm, but to be friends with Handa. Soon the situation is taken care of, and Handa and others finish their play. During the assessment, the comics club was given a prize for selling 5,000 copies, while the best class prize went to Handa's class. Sawako asks Handa to come to the stage and give a speech, but Kawafuji takes the place and says that he deserves an award as well because he is best friends with Handa. This makes others furious, and their reaction is what Kawafuji wanted to show Handa. He said that Handa is no longer hated by anyone, and so he should be confident and start socializing. Handa realizes everyone's feelings towards him and dedicates the prize to everyone who worked hard during the festival. The festival is a huge success, and Handa finally realizes that Aizawa and others are his best friends who always stayed by his side and protected him. That is all about this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to stay up to date with such interesting movie recap videos here.